Welcome to Board Game Empire. We're going to be giving you a quick overview and review of Savernake Forest. So this is a quick filler game that up to 4 players can play. Basically, you are trying to build the best path that feeds your animals the most, which will in turn get you the most points to win the game. Very simple mechanics, very simple to learn. I will say the rule book is a little vague in some parts, so we did watch their video, but we did have a couple questions, but I think we pretty much figured it out near the end. It was just a little vague in the book, but I think we've got it down. So when we tell you how we determined it was played. So you have your animal cards, and then you have your path cards. The animal cards have the red background, and the path cards have the greenish background. So you're going to have 4 cards. Here, I'll just put these under here. 3 paths and an animal card. So these have support animals with them. The rooster, if you happen to take this card, you're first player and you take the rooster. If you take this card under the goat, you get the water resource. And what you do is you place that in the corner of any of your animals cards. You'd want to put it on one that's actually worth points. And it makes that food worth an additional point at the end of the game. If you take this card, you get a lair. So you put that on your animal card and it increases the capacity by 1. And then if you take this card, there's normally a deck of animal cards here. You would put it, that's the only way to replace the animal card is by someone taking it. So every round, we played the 2-player variant. So in a 2-player variant, you're doing a 4x8 grid. In a regular game, 3 or more players, you're doing a 4x4 grid. So we did an 8x4 grid, and we were taking 2 of these cards each round instead of 1. So first player would take the one they want, and then the next player, and so forth. In a 3 to 4 player game,
you don't replace the cards.
Right, until after the end. You don't replace them as they're taken. You replace them at the end of the round. In a 3 to 4 player game, there will be cards left, and those are discarded. But and again, they're only playing a 4x4 grid. So basically, you are trying to build a path where your animals will have the hopefully best path with food on it that they actually eat, because they have a storage capacity. So I don't know if you can see my thing, but the little mouse here, he has a storage capacity of 2. So he only eats worms. Well, actually, he eats worms, strawberries, or eggs. Unfortunately, I got him near the end of the game, so I didn't have a long path for him. But there's only 1 fruit he found, because there's only 1 fruit on that path. So he gets 1 point, plus he's worth 2 points. The numbers that are in the little red leaf are their points. So at the end of the game, you're going to be scoring up all your animal points, and then you're also going to be scoring how much food they collected that they actually eat and however many points that is worth. Like for instance, this squirrel, basically he has a capacity of 3. He had a longer path. What is that?
Looks like a beaver.
Oh, beaver. That's a beaver. I always get them mixed up. Okay, so he has a capacity of 3. So the first 3 foods on his trail is what he collects. He got a nut, strawberry, and an egg. So he eats strawberries and nuts. Each are worth 3 points because I added a water drop to them. So he would get, and this is where we had a question, and I think we're understanding it right. He would get he only collected 1 nut and 1 strawberry. If he had a capacity of 4, I believe he could have collected 2 strawberries and 1 nut, which would have fulfilled his capacity of 3. So he didn't, his third capacity was taken up by eggs, but he doesn't eat those. He doesn't get points for those. So he gets a total of 6 points for that path. And you just keep going through and scoring your animals that way. You are limited, of course, to the path cards that are here in front of you. So it gets a little tricky because another rule is you can't have two animals on the same path. So if this one was turned this way, both of these animals would be on the same path, and they're not going to share that food. So you have to pick one who you want to score, and the other one just you turn over and you don't score it. You can turn your path and animal cards anyway. So the smart thing to do
when you first place it,
right, would be to make sure when you put those animals down that there's a dead end to any other path that has an animal on it. And dead ends are okay. You don't have to, like in some games like this, the paths have to meet before you can place it. This game, you want dead ends because you need those so your animals don't share the path. So, I believe, is that it?
Yeah.
Oh, and at the end of the game, you turn this over, take one of the scoring trackers, and then you just go through and you'll mark your score as you go, and whoever wins the game.
Well, that was pretty much the score.
That was actually our ending score. I had 50 and he had 55, so he just wants to point that out.
Well, she went like 3 weeks with me not winning games, so in the last like 5 games, I've won like 4, so I'm doing comeback.
He feels like a man again.
It's a game.
I know. Okay. It was killing him. He said it was starting to hurt his ego. You did. You actually did say that.
Well, I'm normally pretty good at games.
Yeah, it was a long time span.
But we played a lot of like dice games, and for some reason, normally I'm really lucky with dice, but for the longest time, I was just not rolling well. So, and she was running way too well. Yeah. So
the breaks.
Alright, so you want me to do first? I really like the components, really cute illustrations, very family friendly, kids and everything. So great components. These pieces are wood. You get this to store the pieces. The boards are thick. The cards are nice and well made. So, and the illustration is easy to see the numbers and everything. So great components. As far as replayability, high replayability, because there's, the cards are constantly moving and you're placing them in different areas. You're also, blocking and stuff like that, which you will be blocking a lot of times. Your own, like birds and everything to determine different paths. So high replayability because it only takes like 3 or 4 minutes to set up. And so overall, actually mechanics, really like the mechanics because, the different paths and everything. It is strategic because you are choosing your own cards. And sometimes you will be choosing cards that your opponent might need or want. You also want to choose cards like the characters that you are going to want to, make a path eventually or pretty much, finish a path that already has food that will score points also. So there's a lot of different things that come up throughout the game that you're going to, want to do. So great mechanics. For me, I'm giving this an 8. I really enjoy this as a filler game. So it's cool components, strategic. It does have some luck base factor because of the cards, but it's still strategic enough because you're choosing cards. So 8 out of 10. What did you think?
It was fun. It's a good filler game. I would give this a 7. I did enjoy it. It was fun. It's just not my favorite. So
yeah, we have a lot of filler games.
This is definitely one I would want to play again. So I would give this a solid 7. And it's very easy to learn and easy to teach someone else. And most of all, it's a quick game. And again, we played the 2-player variant, so I don't know if ours took longer than the 3 to 4 player game where they're doing a 4x4 grid, or if it's maybe the same amount of time, because I think you're doing the same amount of cards. You're still doing the same amount of rounds, right?
So it would be the same amount of time.
Yeah, so they say it takes like 30 minutes. That's probably maybe right, maybe a little quicker.
Yeah.
But Yeah, so we had fun playing it. I really thought I was going to beat him, but he squeezed out he grabbed animals mostly in the last few rounds.
I did the path first more, and then I tried to finish the paths with the animals so they could collect the stuff.
Yeah, he did better with his paths. See, I kept getting stuck because he was always first player. He always made sure he was first player.
I was first player like 80-85%.
And I kept getting the animals, and I mean, which are good in a sense, but it made it to where I could not make any substantial paths, whereas he has better paths than me. So these lair things really didn't mean anything to me because I didn't have enough on my path to even need to expand its storage.
Sounds like a wine.
Except for a couple of them. So, yeah, next time I know. Don't let him get the first player token. I didn't really care. I was like, I don't really care. But I now know I should have cared more.
Yeah, she thought she would just win because, I just was first player and she could figure out how to put the puzzle better than me. It didn't happen that way.
But it was a close game. We were only 5 away. It's basically one animal. One animal, basically.
One animal?
Yeah.
Animal is like 2 points max.
No, I'm talking about with the food and the animal.
Oh.
It's probably like one animal difference. But, yeah.
A loss is a loss.
But, again, we like this game. So, we will put the link in the description if you want to check it out for yourself. Feel free to leave a question or a comment. We'll get to that as soon as we can. If you're already subscribed, thank you so much for being a fan. If not, we hope you'll subscribe and click that bell so you'll get all of our notifications. Please like this video. Thank you again for watching. We look forward to seeing you next time.